Alright, no, not Instagram. Not Instagram. YouTube, how's it going? I am currently dressed like a milkmaid. I have Wrangler flare jeans on. I wish you guys could see. Oh wait! This setup that I got is sauce, honestly. Can you guys see? They're my Wrangler flare jeans, bell bottoms, boots. I feel like some people kind of get a style and they stick to it and they'll dress like that every single day, but I kind of like dressing differently every day because I feel like it taps me into a whole different style. It's fun to switch it up, but I'm not here to talk about fashion, unfortunately. What I'm here to talk about is being anaphylactically allergic to all nuts, which a lot of people don't really get or understand unless they're allergic themselves, and I have only probably met in my entire life maybe 5 or 6 people that are anaphylactically allergic to nuts, and I'm one of them. It's great. I love it. Actually, I hate it, and it's one of the most frustrating things for me to deal with, especially living out here in LA, because everything is made of nuts, including cheese and milk and all things that are dairy. People tend to not be aware of the allergy unless they have it themselves, which is kind of shitty for me sometimes because I end up almost dying. I don't know if people think it's like not that important until like the person is going into anaphylactic shock, but I have many stories which I wanted to tell you guys today. I will do a little peanut story time. And I got this really cool email from a dad the other day talking about how his daughter is allergic to nuts and how he wants to bring more awareness to it. And I thought it was an amazing email that I got because I think it's a serious problem too. Some commonly asked questions that I get that I can clear up for you right now if you have them is, are coconuts a nut? No, coconuts are a fruit, but they definitely have the word nut in the name, so I might get how people get that confused. Another one that I get is, are you allergic to peanut butter? I mean, last time I checked, I think that peanut butter is made out of peanuts, so definitely allergic to that one. Do you have an allergic reaction when nuts are in the same room as you? For me, I personally don't because I'm not airborne anaphylactic, but a lot of people are. So for those of you that don't know what anaphylactic shock is when your body basically thinks that something that you put in it is poison and it reacts aggressively. If I can get you the Webster's dictionary definition of anaphylactic shock. Anaphylactic shock is a serious, life-threatening allergic reaction. Your immune system overreacts to this allergen by releasing chemicals that cause allergy symptoms. Anaphylaxis symptoms usually occur within 1 minute of exposure to an allergen. Some common symptoms are skin reactions, including hives and itching, low blood pressure, constriction of your airway and swollen tongue or throat, weakened rapid pulse, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dizziness, or fainting. And unfortunately, I'm affected by all of those symptoms, and they don't sound like super crazy until you combine all of them together. One of my videographers that I work with consistently, his name's Evan Padarakis, is anaphylactically allergic to all shellfish and nuts, which is crazy because that's a double whammy for him. I'm only allergic to nuts, but even just that, like, it's getting so increasingly worse. Like, it's nuts. Never heard that one before. People are constantly like, damn, this Reese's peanut butter cup is so good. I can't believe you can't eat it. I feel so sorry for you. Peanut butter is so good. I can't believe you can't eat it. And I'm like, it's so good, really. I had no idea. Joke number 2. Are you allergic to all nuts? Yeah, I'm fucking allergic to all nuts, including yours, dude that said that. So now that you guys know what anaphylactic shock is, and I've kind of talked about it, introed it, gave you some background information, here comes the story time, guys. Okay, story number 1. Numero uno. I'm not gonna say which airline because I'm not here to talk about the airline, but a specific, certain, special airline. I was flying from Los Angeles to South Africa, and you have to stop in London on the way there. So I was flying from Los Angeles to London, which is a pretty long flight, and it's overseas. Pretty sure it was 12 hours, so Let's just imagine that. I'm not sure if you've ever been on a 12-hour flight, but it feels like you're going crazy if you don't fall asleep. So it's been a couple hours into this flight, and I'm sitting business class by a window, and they were serving meals. They were handing out meals because on flights that are that long, you have to hand out meals, and on every flight, it is a pretty common standard to be aware of nut allergies. I specifically told the people on the airplane before I got onto the airline that I was allergic to nuts, and if you could please be aware of that, that'd be great. I'm sitting in my seat and they're serving meals and they brought mine over to me. And obviously I was starving, so I started inhaling the food because I love food, and I told them that I was allergic to nuts, so I wasn't even thinking about it. And all of a sudden, I looked up from where I was sitting. And you guys have to understand, this isn't a joke. This is a life or death situation for me. Something that's so small that you guys eat every single day is something that can kill me in a matter of 5 minutes, if not handled properly. So, I'm eating this meal, and they had cashew cheese on it, and I had no idea because I told them that I was allergic to nuts. Most airlines don't even serve nuts anymore because of how many people are allergic, let alone put it in a meal that they serve the entire plane. They handed me this pasta, and it had really, really good sauce, and some cheese on it, and they served it to everybody, so I was inhaling it naturally, and after 30 seconds of taking my first bite, I was like, I am going into anaphylactic shock, and I was like, this is crazy, there can't be nuts in this, I must have eaten something else. And I was trying to get the flight attendant's attention to tell them that I was going into anaphylactic shock. I looked on the back of the box, I looked on the meal that they served me, there were no ingredients, nothing, and so I was like, I got the flight attendant's attention and asked them to go get the ingredients, and she read off cashew cheese. I was like, cashews are nuts! I told you guys I was allergic to nuts, but you served me a meal that has cashews in it. And at that point, it's just what the fuck are you supposed to do? It's like a life or death situation all of a sudden. And I just remember, when I start going into anaphylactic shock, it's okay, you have 5 minutes. Figure this out right now. You're on an airplane over the ocean. Who knows if there's a doctor on board, and you don't have an EpiPen. Also, let me address this. EpiPens are really, really fucking expensive in the United States right now, which is completely unfair because this is not something that I choose to be allergic to. And EpiPens are upwards of $1,000 right now because some dude was mass producing them and decided, just wants to make money, as most big pharma does. And they started pumping out EpiPens that kids were using, and they weren't working because they were so diluted, just because they were trying to mass produce them instead of get high quality shit to these kids that are gonna die if they eat nuts. So there was a massive recall, and now there's a shortage of EpiPens, so they're really, really expensive. I didn't have an EpiPen at that time. I was on an airplane going to anaphylactic shock. I got up to run to the bathroom because the first thing I thought was, I need to get these nuts out of my system right now. I was about to get up out of my seat, and a flight attendant was like, ma'am, we need you to just sit down. There's turbulence right now, we can't have you get up. And I just pushed past him. I was like, fuck your rules, I need to throw up right now. I got up and was sprinting to the back of the plane, and all of a sudden the plane goes, my whole body was floating in the air of the airplane because there was crazy turbulence. So I was like, okay, I'm either gonna die from turbulence from this airplane or die going to anaphylactic shock alone. Thumbs up. This was really scary, by the way. So I'm running to the back of the airplane, crashing into people, grabbing this bald dude's head because it's about to fall over from the turbulence. Finally get to the back, all the flight attendants are buckled into their seats, and I am in the bathroom toilet. I was on my knees trying to make myself throw up, and I took out my phone, which I had in my back pocket, and I made a quick video that I don't know who I thought was gonna see it or what was going on, but I was like, if this phone survives, I recorded a video of myself being like, don't ever fucking eat nuts again, you idiot. And I was like, I love you, mom, I love you, dad, blah, 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 whatever, in case I died from going to anaphylactic shock. Great. So I made that video, and luckily I was able to get myself to throw up. And once I threw up, I was still going to anaphylactic shock, but at least I had most of the nuts out of my system. So I sprinted back to my seat, and in my purse there was Benadryl, and Benadryl doesn't really stop the reaction, it just masks it and calms down a lot of the symptoms. So it stopped my throat from closing, and that's the #1 thing. But as you guys know, Benadryl knocks you the fuck out. So, okay, there's the initial anaphylaxis that everybody sees where it's like, My face is puffing up and my lips are exploding and I'm throwing up. Literally when I walked out of the bathroom, my eyes, I could barely see anything. They were like puffed shut, super gross. Got back to my seat, took out the Benadryl, took 4 Benadryl. Proceeded to throw up again, so I took 2 more Benadryl because I threw up 2 of them. The vomiting, mind you, is like not like a casual like, it's like, like fucking demonic, like projectile vomiting. So if I can paint a picture for you, just think of like The Conjuring, okay? That's what it sounds like. Finally popped like 6 Benadryl total. I'm sure some of them came up, but you can imagine what pushing through sleep with 6 Benadryl in your system could do to you as a person. So I was finally stable-ish. I was breathing, but I was so out of it from all the Benadryl that I took because I had nothing in my stomach from throwing up. And the Benadryl was just chilling in there. So the flight attendants like grabbed me and sat me next to the 2 people in my original seat. And they were like, can you like watch her and make sure that she doesn't die? I was like, cool, thanks, appreciate that. Couldn't move, I was so dead, my body was just lifeless, like in this seat. So I was on that flight for the next 9 hours, going in and out of hallucinations from this Benadryl, just laying in the seat, like coming in and out of sleep in excruciating pain, because not only do I go into anaphylactic shock, but there's the whole process afterwards as well, where it goes through my digestive tract into my stomach, goes through my organs, everything to process food, and it shreds its way through all of my organs. I love it. It's great. Feels really good. The stomach pain that I feel while I eat nuts is probably the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. A solid 6 to 7 hours of pain post-experience. Benadryl does help because I get to sleep, so I can sleep through the pain, but it still hurts really bad. The real kicker was after I came out of my state of comatose, Benadryl-induced comatose that I had been in for the past 9 hours in the plane. It was like 2 hours into sitting upright on a seat, and I was in so much pain that I couldn't sit up anymore. I thought I was about to pass out, so I walked up to first class and laid in one of the beds. It was an hour later, one of the people who knew I'd gone into anaphylactic shock came up to me. I was trying to hide because you're technically not supposed to do that, but I was in so much pain I just needed to lay down. They kicked me out of first class for laying down in a bed, and they got really angry at me. They're like, you can't do that, like these people paid good money for this. So I proceeded to go back to my seat, and I saw in an exit row that was completely empty, there was a flat area on the ground, so I decided to take a pillow and a blanket and lay down on the ground and try to fall asleep. 30 minutes later, they then proceeded to come up to me and tell me that I wasn't allowed to lay on the ground, so I was like, I need to lay down somewhere. They're like, sorry, you can't do that. You're dying, but you can't lay down. Go sit in your seat. It was the most excruciating, unpleasant experience I've ever had on an airplane, obviously. And the real kicker is this woman who works for their airline came up to me and tried talking to me to save their ass so that I wouldn't pursue legal action, because an airline or any company that, does something like that can get in serious trouble if I or anybody who went into an allergic reaction decided to, press charges, but I don't have time for that. This has happened many times in restaurants. I'll ask the waiters, hey, do you know if there's nuts in this meal? They'll go, no, I don't think there is, which is the answer. And then they'll serve me something, and because the waiter is uneducated about allergies, there will be cashew cheese. I'll be eating a pizza and all of a sudden I start going into anaphylactic shock. I'll be eating some pasta and I'll start going into anaphylactic shock because people use nuts as a garnish on everything here, and it's so unnecessary, guys. Find a different garnish, one that doesn't actually almost kill people. Most vegan stuff, I can never be vegan because almond milk and cashew cheese and almond cheese, and I get the substitute, but it is just so dangerous for people who are allergic to nuts. So if anybody wants to come up with a different substitute, that'd be great. But y'all gotta be aware of other people's diets and what other people can and cannot eat. Just how people are very super sensitive to vegans. Like, be ultra sensitive when someone's like, I'm allergic to nuts. Make sure the utensils in the kitchen, if anything touch nuts, don't let it touch that. When you eat nuts around somebody, when you whip out a peanut butter sandwich or something, on an airplane, just don't do that, because it's not worth it. You can save it for later. Anyways, that's my story time about nuts. Everybody, can we just all be aware of the nut allergy and try to be extra cautious to when moving forward, people who live the vegan lifestyle, and people who are very healthy, even though nuts are healthy for you and they help benefit you, those things kill people, including myself. So let's just all be aware of that. And if, somebody orders a vegan pizza for everybody. Obviously, that's not the norm, so just be like, hey, this is a vegan pizza. Never hurts to be careful, you know. Alright, anyways, that's my whole spiel. I love you guys, and talk to you soon.